Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm speaking to you this morning on Treaty 6 territory, and I acknowledge the Métis people who share a deep connection with this land. Today we have new data from the Conference Board of Canada, and it paints a bleak picture of how Albertans feel about their personal finance. Consumer confidence in Alberta plummeted by almost 14 points in July. This follows a 20-point drop in June. Now that drop in confidence, consumer confidence in Alberta plummeted by almost 14 points in July, and this follows a 20-point drop in June. This drop in confidence is more than double the national average. Albertans are feeling the pinch of inflation and the pressure on their pocketbooks. Even more concerning is that both BC and Quebec remain steady, and Ontario only saw a modest loss in confidence. Conference Board of Canada says less than 10% of Albertans feel confident about their future finances, and even fewer Albertans believe this is a good time to make a major purchase. These are the lowest numbers since the first days of the pandemic. They are a significant warning sign. They are a large, flashing red light for the UCP government. This is not what high oil prices are supposed to look like in Alberta. But inflation is driving up prices. Wages are not keeping up. Most Albertans are getting a pay cut in real terms. And behind those numbers, I can tell you that there are real human stories that I hear on the doorstep in Lethbridge and many other communities. The anxiety that parents feel as they head to the checkout at the grocery store, the heart-stopping moment when people are opening their utility bills or their car insurance renewal. Families are struggling to keep food on the table, a roof over their heads, and cover their monthly bills. Now, what's more, the UCP government is piling even more monthly expenses onto Albertans. The UCP has charged people more income tax, more property tax, more tuition fees, more interest on student debt, more for their electricity bill, more for car insurance. This has been a very costly UCP government for Albertans. These are all things that are within the UCP's control. And for the last 3 years, they have done nothing but make the wrong choices for ordinary people and made life more expensive. No wonder Albertans are feeling less and less confident about their financial future. But no one in the UCP leadership race is talking about this in a serious way. Obviously, we need a new government with a new approach. The time for that is fast approaching, within a year. And we, as an NDP government, will always be focused on keeping more money in Albertans' pockets. Thank you, and I'll now take your questions.
Thank you, Shannon. Before we take questions, I'll just remind folks if you're joining us over the phone, to use star 9 on your telephone keypad to ask a question, star 9, or the raise hand function on Zoom. Just check with folks in the room.
I guess if I could put you in a situation, if somebody were to approach you on the street and say, I'm having a hard time, purchasing like groceries, what would you say to them in that immediate instance?
You know, I think there's no question that people are, in fact, saying that to me on the street. It has happened. And, you know, I think the first thing is that everyone needs to reach out to their communities and make sure that they've got everything that they need. There's no question that electricity bills, something that people can do is get on that fixed rate. But there's no question that Albertans right now are starting to feel like they need 2 jobs just to keep up to their bills. And there's no question that people are feeling that pinch. So I would say, you know, like obviously there's the smallish things that we can do in our regular lives just to keep up, just to keep our heads above water. But then there's also a longer term. We need a government that actually cares about taking action on these things that they have control over. There's no question the provincial government can't help much with the bill at your grocery checkout line. That's something that's happened across the country, that those prices have gone up. But we are a wealthy province where there are billions of dollars now circulating in large corporations. The UCP has cut their taxes, is celebrating the fact that that is not trickling through to regular Albertans, and at every available opportunity they've cost ordinary people more. So we need to be focused on what's going on at that kitchen table, on that level of desperation that people are starting to feel. I have seen it myself in the last couple of weeks. I've been back out on the doorstep, and I have had people look at me with actual worry in their eyes, saying, when can we get a break? And there's no question that we need to be looking at the incredible wealth that we are now generating through these high oil prices and figuring out how we make life better for ordinary people today and set ourselves up so that this doesn't happen in the future.
Okay, and we will go to the phone lines. Caller, when you hear your line unmuted, you can introduce yourself and ask your question.
The Edmonton Journal. I'm wondering what your response is to the labor force survey released this morning. Apparently, Alberta's unemployment rate dropped to 4.8% in July, which is lower than the national average. I'm wondering what you are seeing in that report today.
Well, we've seen a very, very modest uptick in job growth. Any job growth is, of course, always positive news, but it's a bit underwhelming considering that the money that is flowing into Alberta right now. The UCP seems to be out there taking a victory lap over a very small amount of job growth, but they are even more celebrating a recovery in corporate profits and shareholder dividends without any regard to how we're going to use the resource wealth windfall in the billions of dollars that is happening right now into the provincial treasury to set us up to make life easier for people right now and to restore some of that consumer confidence that we see in this report has plummeted. And to set us up for the future. The economy is much larger than a few thousand jobs here or there, or a small percentage, a small percentage of a percentage point job growth month over month. It's about ordinary people, and when consumer confidence is down, wages are stagnant, cost of living is through the roof. People are worried about their personal finances, as this Conference Board of Canada report shows. And you know, really at the end of the day, we are now hearing from people that folks are starting to feel like they need 2 jobs just to keep up. And those are really important warning signs for the government that they don't seem to be heeding.
You have a follow-up, Lisa?
Yeah, sorry, this is pretty unrelated, but I'm wondering if I could also get your thoughts on a tweet that Brian Jean shared last night about vaccination, adverse effects of vaccination. He seemed to be referring to some Health Canada data, a dashboard that's posted online. He said, I talked about these issues, some was wrong, but data from Health Canada that says that up to and including June 24th, there was a total of 355 reports of deaths following vaccination. I'm wondering if you've seen this tweet and you have any thoughts on the angle he's going at here.
I have not, but I'll tell you what I'm not going to do is take my healthcare advice from Brian Jean or from any of the extremist candidates in the UCP leadership right now. What I think Albertans should be doing is heeding the advice of medical professionals, medical officers of health, and so on. Certainly, Mr. Jean has indulged some of this unscientific and, frankly, nonsense arguments in the past. I am not surprised to hear from you that he has done so again. In that, he is, of course, joined by Danielle Smith, who has also taken very questionable opinions or questionable positions about the pandemic more broadly and COVID-19. It also appeared that Mr. Taves indulged this sort of nonsense as well. You know, I think at the end of the day, what we know here is that regardless of UCP leadership candidate, what we have here is a group of people who are not focused on what Albertans are focused on. You know, we have a report yesterday that shows consumer confidence plunging. We know wages are stagnant and not keeping up with inflation. We know Albertans are really feeling the pinch. And what UCP leadership contestants are offering them is conspiracy theories via tweet. This does not solve problems for ordinary people. It doesn't set us up to be a place where, you know, people want to make investment and see Alberta as a long-term safe place to do business, where we trust science, where we understand understand, that healthcare decisions are best made between a person and their doctor. And so, I'm just going to leave this sort of, I think Albertans are also leaving this sort of stuff aside, the vast majority, and want to see a government that's focused on their priorities.
Thank you. And with that, I think we'll conclude today's news conference. Thank you, everyone.
So much for watching, and to learn more, check out albertasfuture.ca.